Hey everybody, what's up? This is Joshua Scott here with Studio 88, and I am super pumped for this video that we have coming out today. Who's this guy?
Are we doing an intro for the show?
Yeah, this is Shane Simmons here. He's our guest.
This is going. That's cool, guys. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the 88 Show. This is the internet's only dental show where we talk about what matters most in marketing. I'm your host, Joshua Scott. This is episode 104. And man, excited about 104 because I've got my friend Shane Simmons on the show today. Dude, thanks for being here.
So pumped. It was a 3-hour snowy drive east, and I was looking forward to it the whole time. Wouldn't stop me from nothing.
I saw the snow this morning. He's coming from Indianapolis. We're in Columbus. 3-hour drive straight down 70. So I mean, that part's easy.
Yeah.
But man, if there's any type of snow or weather, it can get a little crazy.
It's not going to stop this killer episode we're about to do.
Yeah, for sure. So Shane's coming over, invited him over to check out the space, hang out with the crew, see how we do things, share the top secret behind the scenes information. Fellow dental marketer as well. And so this will be a good conversation, man. Excited to have you.
Yeah, thanks.
So before we get too far, man, let's just back up. Like how'd this whole thing happen? Because I know you probably weren't sitting in high school like, I want to be in the dental industry.
Right.
You know, so how does that work? How'd you get here?
Yeah, so I always knew that I liked like storytelling and like communicating. So I wanted to get into that somehow. And so after I graduated from Indiana University with a communications degree, I thought I wanted to become a journalist. When you move up into the news ranks, into bigger markets, the stories are not as enjoyable for many of us. And so it was literally just like, it was like murder scenes and things like that, daily.
Yeah.
And so the storytelling, it's like you're using it, but it's in like these really grim situations. So I got out. Took a job at the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University in the marketing department, and really that's where I started to bridge the gap between storytelling and marketing and messaging and intent. And then started with dentistry as just kind of like knew a dentist who had kind of a newer practice and was like, hey, you want to help with some marketing? I was like, sure, let's see what I can do, and had a lot of fun with it, had some success with it. But Josh, what I really found out was the marketing industry was, and you say it all the time, and to use your words, was broken.
Yeah.
Where it was just a lot of bad like stuff, like content, everything looked the same. And dentistry is really, it's a beautiful field. It's like an art, and it's blending science and art together.
Yeah.
And so I thought that there was a real opportunity for me to take my background and my skill set and learn from some of the greatest dental marketers out there and try to use that to help kind of fix this broken image that dental marketing has had, in my opinion.
Yeah. So when you look back, always wanted to be an entrepreneur, just kind of stumbled into it? Like as you look back, what was your take?
I think so. I think I always wanted to, but I didn't necessarily know that it was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I always like to lead, first and foremost. Like I like to lead others and try to be able to put people, like write puzzle pieces, together to get the best results. And so I always had that kind of in me, but I'm not from like an entrepreneurial family or anything like that. So I really didn't know anything about it, wasn't educated on it. And quite honestly, I thought to become an entrepreneur, you had to invent some new product.
Yeah.
Like I thought I had to be like Elon Musk or, something like that to be an entrepreneur. So I didn't really know until I got at the Kelley School of Business and I started to find mentors who were saying like, Shane, I think you have a calling to do this and be a business owner and help others. Once I started the business, even though it can be super stressful starting a company and all the things that come along with that, and I surely have had my shares of anxiety attacks and things, but I've never been happier in my life.
Yeah.
And when you get to help others and then also kind of live the life that you want to live and provide opportunities for other people who may not have had those previously, it's pretty special. And so I think it's just kind of the dots have connected.
Yeah. Remember when I launched this, my dad was literally like, I hope you don't go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Like type of thing. I was like, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that advice.
Dad, appreciate that. So I heard somebody told me probably early into us launching this, they said, the thing about being a business owner and an entrepreneur is the highs are higher and the lows are lower. When I say that to you, like what comes to mind? Like, can you identify with that?
Yeah, so with the highs being higher, I think, you just have those times where like you're knocking it out of the park for clients and you're getting like great emails and texts and everything, and you're bringing on other team members or thinking about growing the team, and you're just like, you literally feel on top of the world because you have all this freedom because you feel in control, right?
Yeah.
But when you hit the lowest of lows, which I have hit, again, you feel totally like it's on your shoulders. It's your responsibility. And I've always, and I'm not ashamed to say it, like I've always had some anxiety, like things I've had to deal with in my life.
Yeah.
It's certainly, I don't run away from that, and I know I have that. But when that happens, and you have this kind of panic attack, and you have to kind of sit back and just try to realize that, okay, this is all part of it. It's going to pass. And I'm just thinking, like, one time we had like 3 clients who all kind of like backed down of deals, like in the same week. And you're like,
because that's how it happens.
Yeah, it's like all at the same time, and you're like, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? But it's almost like when that happens, you find a way to make other things kind of come into motion too. It's like, if you were starting at any point to maybe, slow down a little bit, that will kick you in the butt and pick you right back up.
That's probably one of the first lessons I learned was panic attacks, like what they were. I mean, the first one I had, I remember my wife going, I think it's panic. I think it's anxiety. And I was like, really? But it's kind of so been a process of controlling that, and so much of it's mental.
Yeah.
And you realize, like, when something like that happens and you lose 3 clients in a week, your brain goes to, this whole thing's going to fall apart by next week. And that induces panic, but then you realize that that's not going to happen. Right. So how, like, dealing with some of that, what were some of the things that for you were keys, or how did you get through some of those moments?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost was like, I think, family has been like really great for me. So like my wife has been like, my rock and my support stone when it comes to those situations. She's able to talk me through that. I think the second thing is, just gratitude. And that's a practice that I've really began doing, I'd say in the last year consistently, is just, making a list of all the things that I am super grateful for and that I have going for my life. It's like, thank goodness I'm not battling, a life-threatening disease, or, my family's healthy, and all of these things. It's like, that puts stuff into perspective immediately. And so it's like, preaching gratitude, is huge. And then I think exercise, and that's something that I've put on the back burner. And I think entrepreneurs, we do that a lot, is, like diet and exercise kind of comes last a lot of times. But when I've really been at my best, I've noticed it's when I'm in my best shape. It's when I'm actually working out and feeling good and eating the right foods. Yeah,
100%. So I know, so you started Crimson Media. What are kind of your guys' areas of expertise? Like, what are you really, really good at?
Yeah, so I think we're first and foremost known for like our search engine optimization.
Yeah.
That's where we've been getting amazing results for the last several years.
Okay.
And so that's really, I think, what's built the company. Anybody can do SEO, but very few can actually like rank you number 1, rank you number 2, in those top spots for those real competitive key terms.
Yeah.
And the number 1 thing right now, and this has been true for the last several years, is high quality links pointing to your website. Like, for example, if you're ever on a podcast, whether it be this podcast or Dentist Implants and Worms or whatever it may be, getting a link that's pointing back to your site with a term that's, a dentist in Columbus or whatever. We interviewed a dentist in Columbus today. That's going to tell Google to rank your website higher in those local, search listings.
Yeah.
Like, think of the one person in the corner of the room at a party who has like everybody around them and they're laughing at their jokes and they just seem to like, they can't do anything wrong. And then you have the other person who has like no one around them and they're like, why is that person so popular? It's kind of the same thing with websites. You can have an amazing looking website and the best practice in the world, but if you don't have anybody talking about that website online, which are your links, you don't have anybody talking about it, Google's not really going to appreciate it for what it is. And so the links is the most important thing. And how do you get those? Well, it's just a lot of relationship development. And that's why there's a lot of people who get burned in SEO, is because it's hard to develop relationships with website, bloggers and things with these really great websites. And that's hard work to do. And so it's not something that you can just kind of like, offshore to India and hope that you're gonna, get your website ranked because they can rank it for $100 a month or whatever. It takes long-term relationship building to make that happen. And then the second thing that I think is still really important is having Google reviews and continue getting those and feeding those in. I know a lot of people are torn on, well, do we get Yelp reviews? Do we get Google reviews? I try to stay away from Yelp just
same.
because, they will prioritize based on if you're spending money with them and they'll hide it's just kind of sketchy what they do.
Communists.
It is. It really, it's not good. So I tell people stick with Google reviews, and that certainly helps. And then third and foremost is have a website that's unique and different. These template websites, it's not good for a search engine optimization standpoint. Customization, sites that Studio 88's doing, that's going to receive greater favor by Google because it gives the user a unique experience. And at the end of the day, this all comes back to the user experience on the site.
The problem is when you cut corners on that and you go with a $4,000 templated website, and now you pay the SEO company $1,500 a month and for the whole year, and it does nothing. And I'm like, you actually would have saved money coming with us. So what do you tell those companies? They're spending $1,000 a month, even $2,000. I mean, I've heard $3,000. What do you tell them?
Yeah. Well, first, I always ask okay, let's look at the website itself first and see what's actually going on with the website. And if I see that the website is really old, outdated, not mobile friendly, those are the basics you look at first and foremost. The other thing is with the SEO is there's a difference between, again, just pointing social signals to your website from Facebook or Instagram and building citations versus actually getting intent-based links to your site for dentist in Columbus or dentist in Indianapolis, and actually having a great website pointing back to it. So we can look at all of that through our software and find out okay, where is the misstep happen. But a lot of times what I tell people, Josh, is if I see that it looks like you've tried to go kind of a cheaper route on the website and even the SEO side, it's you're more likely, most of the time, you're going to run into this issue. It's an investment. Your website's an investment. Your marketing's an investment. You should get a return on your investment, but you have to be able to invest it up front if you're going to want to truly stand out and be the kind of the champion in your area. People, they don't look at, they don't know who's the best clinician or who has the best chairside manner. They look at Google and they say who's at the top, and that's who they assume is the best, even though they may not be the best. So if you really do feel strongly about your service, your product, that's why it's so important to invest in that so people can start to see the same value as well.
Yeah, I liken it to real estate. And I'm like, that when you're above the fold on that Google page, even if you have an ad, and then you're top in the maps, and then you're top in organic. I'm like, man, you're 3 out of the top 6 or 8 spots on that page. It's literally prime real estate. Yeah. So why wouldn't you want all 3?
Yeah, and the results are crazy as far as how the percentage of people who do a Google search who click the top 3 versus anything after the top 3. And if you're on page 2, it's
nope,
done.
Done.
Yeah, it's just done. And so that's the thing is it's important. It's definitely important for your practice, and it's not as sexy as some of the newer platforms that people are doing ads on and things, but it's still the data shows us it's absolutely effective.
Well, so we'll wrap things up here. I know I wanted to talk to you about your podcast. Just didn't have a chance, but why don't you plug that? Why what it is, where people can find it, what you're trying to do with that?
Yeah, thank you. So it's called the Nothing But the Tooth podcast.
Yep.
And it's not super serious, it's fun. It's just kind of I always alluded to sitting on the front porch, just talking to somebody, just chatting,
Yeah.
And we talk about marketing, leadership, and case acceptance are kind of the main tiers that we hit on. So Nothing But the Tooth podcast, would love if you guys could check that out.
Well, dude, thanks for being here. Definitely appreciate you coming over. I mean, I just want to take a minute and just say, love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Completely validated. I know I told the team earlier, for me, this is not competition. The world is much bigger than that. Man, if I get the 1% of the dental market, we're we're thrilled. If you get 1%, we're thrilled. I want the good guys to win. And so, bringing you in, it's hey, one of the good guys, hit him up. If you have some needs in those areas, would love for you to reach out to Shane. So, good job.
Thank you, man.
I know it's not always easy, but keep going.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And I look at your guys', and this is why it's such a treat for me to be here. It's to see what's happening with what you guys are putting out, and it's inspiring too. So I'm glad we were able to do this.
Yeah, for sure, man. Anytime. So, guys, that wraps up episode 104. Special guest Shane Simmons here. Best place to find me, Instagram at Joshua Scott. Also check out this month's article. You'll find the link down below. Superstars get booed. And I think that's it. We'll catch you on the next episode.